Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jackie Ermy, the Director of Psychological Health, and we have Chaplain Fuentes, who's from our chaplain's office here with us today. We're so glad you could join us, and if you've joined us in previous classes, they're kind of short and sweet, and we really do kind of take a topic and we kind of weave it together, looking at the psychological health aspects and the spiritual aspects, so it can be simpler and more applicable to your life. And so today, actually, I think it was Chaplain Fuentes had a really cool idea of using the matrix picture, red pill, blue pill, and we decided to kind of use that as a way to kind of shape what we wanted to talk to you about today and some of the pointers. Because really what that image symbolizes is a choice, right? We can take the blue pill and the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe, and you take the red pill and you stay in Wonderland, and I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And in the movie, the red pill is kind of like, you can't go back. You can't really unknow what you know. And it makes rabbit holes kind of seem like it could be a good thing to know all those things. But in relationships, that's the twist. In relationships, rabbit holes sometimes can make them more complicated, that mysterious, confusing part of what a relationship is. Chaplain Fuentes, do you want to join in about that intro? And
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Chaplain Fuentes, and it's a great picture of choice. And today, we got a story for you. So it's about two sisters that love each other so much, and they're playing and having a great time until Elsa accidentally hurts her sister with powers. They go and get Anna help, but they take her memories away of the accident. And afterwards, Anna is lonely and confused. Why won't my sister play with me? And she knocks the door and begins to sing, do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. But Elsa's afraid, and she doesn't want to get hurt her sister again. And so, Jackie, I don't know if you can tell about those dynamics, how Anna is longing to connect with her sister, but her sister's too afraid to connect because she's afraid that she might hurt her again.
Well, it's a real perspective of what happens. We tie in Neo's position in the Matrix. It's almost like he has both sides of the conflict, right? We have Anna wanting to connect, and we have Elsa who's fearful. And a lot of times we have that kind of going on inside of us. We have that push, that pull of, I want to do this, yet I'm afraid to do it. And in the movie, we see Neo in the Matrix. He just jumps in. He's like, oh, give me the red pill. He's like, I want it. Like, I just want it. I can't go back. And so he takes a risk. And in the movie, of course, the Frozen movie series, it kind of shows about this risk-taking in relationships, how to trust, how to take appropriate risks, but also kind of how to gauge limits. It talks a lot about limitations. The Matrix, there were like no limits. It was just full on, you take this pill, it's it. But in real life, we really do have limits. And so one of the big things it talks about with those types of movies is it talks about human connection, as one of the really big aspects of what a healthy relationship is. If you want to identify what the difference is between a healthy relationship and those rabbit hole relationships that kind of take us off the focus and almost make us lose sight of who we are, which is what happened to Elsa. She lost sight of who she was because she was so afraid. And a lot of times we sometimes can make those choices too and feel very alone.
Yeah. And Anna, she longed for connection so much that when Elsa's coronation comes, she meets the prince, and they have a great evening. And he asks her to marry her, and she says yes. She says yes after only one day of knowing this guy, and she doesn't really know him. And sometimes we rush into these relationships that might not be so healthy. And what would be an example of an unhealthy relationship, Jackie? What are some of the rabbit holes we have to watch out with some of these relationships?
It's great. So, it's great. I mean, obviously, unhealthy relationships are not great. The good news is that there are things to look out for. So when we think of relationships, we try to find things that kind of help us embrace and pursue opportunities that kind of foster that sense of purpose and meaning in our life. And this is just because we like support that comes from healthy relationships. We try to, find things that are going to help us through tough times, and not just buffer us from harms of stress, but kind of helping us allow to flourish. So if you have that kind of roadmap, you can think of, well, what are the relationship factors and characteristics that result in people not feeling like they're being fulfilled? Their needs are not being met. They're stuck. They're not moving forward. And some of those things can be where there's behaviors that are not really in the mutual respect of both people. Unhealthy relationships don't necessarily mean an abusive relationship. Absolutely, abusive relationships are unhealthy, but unhealthy doesn't necessarily mean there's abuse. So they're not limited to romantic relationships. As we have in Elsa and Anna, we have a lot of like unhealthy dynamics going on in their relationship when they were kids. And that's a lot of times where what we think a relationship is starts to develop as we're children and we're watching relationships around us, like parental relationships or guardian relationships. And it's not related to, just friendships and family members. So we have a lot of things to look for. We have wanting to look for mutual support, care, compassion, empathy. Understanding is a tricky one because sometimes we don't understand the people we love the most. And that's okay.
No.
But we want to show them some sort of love where it's a two-way street. Relationships and healthy relationships should be a two-way street.
Yeah, yeah. Jack, I think it's interesting because sometimes we pick maybe the same type of person, but we want a different type of person. Can you address that rabbit hole that we get stuck? We're longing for something else, but we keep picking the same, I guess, problem or issue.
Yep, we like familiarity, and we are creatures of habit. God created us in a way to connect. He also created us with the ability to know what we're comfortable with and what we're familiar with. At the same time, we're not always consciously aware of what those things are. So this is a good example. We have people that grow up in an abusive childhood, an abusive home, or they have a parent who may be an alcoholic, or there might be some abuse going on, and the child witnesses this. And somehow, as the child grows up and becomes an adult, they find out they're winding up with a partner that was a lot like that parent that was abusive, and they're not really sure why. The answer is because it's familiar. What's unfamiliar and unnatural for that person at that time is a healthy relationship with mutual respect and supporting boundaries. So it takes a little bit of time to learn what that looks like because we just don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you never have a picture of what love is, right? And that's actually in the movie, like you don't know what true love is, and do you know his habits, and do you know his last name and his perfect color? And she's like, it doesn't matter, it's true love. We're in love, and but the reality after those feelings of love, they will fade, and real life sets in. You get to know the real person, and as the story goes, he's actually the villain. This prince is a villain because he really wanted her property, her title. He wanted the kingdom. So when she needed him most, he said, I need that true love kiss. I need that kiss to save me because my heart is freezing, it's frozen. He turned his back on her, and she was alone. But it's so cool. The snowman comes in, and he sets a fire up, and starts melting, and Anna's like, you're melting. And the snowman says, some people are worth melting for, and that's that sacrificial love, and giving her a picture of what real love is like. So
Some things to keep. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I would say, can you tell us about healthy relationships and like what real love kind of looks like?
So, again, bringing back like the whole like blue pill, red pill. So we have in like Frozen, we have, Elsa kind of was like a blue pill girl. She's like, I'm just going to hide. I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to like lock everything away and like nothing's going to change. It's just going to be what it is. And then you have Anna, right? Red pill girl. She's like, I am jumping in. I'm taking risks. I'm making mistakes. I'm human and I'm desperate to connect. And of course, through the movie, we see the two of them kind of come together and realize we can't turn back, but we're going to move forward together. So that togetherness, what that looks like is a comfortable pace, right? We're not looking at rushing. You've probably heard the term, and some of our mothers have said this, like what starts fast ends fast. I've heard that plenty of times. I'm like, oh my gosh, mom, I know what I'm doing. Not. We're trying to connect. So comfortable pace, trust, right? Confidence in your partner. We have honesty and independence. You know, when two people come together, it should be a choice. It should be a want, not a need. And that's an important thing to think about. Do you feel like you need this person? Or do you feel like you want this person? Respect and equality, giving each other the chance to be who you really are, not really trying to, we always hear that, you're not trying to change the other person, but what does that really mean? It means accepting the differences, which takes time. And that's
Hmm.
why the comfortable pace is important. With kindness, being kind to yourself and others, ownership and taking responsibility. If you have a partner who's chronically blaming other people, they may not have the emotional maturity yet to be in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Um, Healthy conflict, big one, right? We have
Yeah.
Anna and Elsa weren't the best at this healthy conflict thing, but they figured it out, how to
Yeah.
talk and how to connect. And then lastly, fun. Healthy
Yeah.
relationships should have a degree of fun in them. That should be the
Yeah.
point of wanting to be with that person. You have
Yeah.
fun with them.
And from a spiritual point, we'd like to focus on truth, but we need to speak the truth in love, you know. And when you're talking about acceptance, it just reminded me that is the way you talk to your partner, the way you communicate things. Make sure you say it in love. You know, if we're too harsh, you know, that drives a person away. That causes more conflict. And so don't forget to speak in love. You know, and we think about the our image of love face perfect is like, you know, God's love is a very given love, you know, it's a very serving love. And at the towards the end of the movie, Anna has a choice. She can go to Kristoff and gets that true love kiss and save herself, or she can save her sister. Her sister is in danger. Her sister that cursed her with to be frozen, and she chooses her sister, and she sacrificed herself for her sister, and freezes. And Elsa is shocked. She's like, no, my sister. And she cries over her sister, and then her sister comes back to life miraculously, and she says to Anna, why did you sacrifice yourself? Why did you do that? And Anna said, because I love you. Because I love you. You're my sister. And that is true love right there. That was the true love. Those sisters found their way back to true love, that true love is sacrificial, is very giving, and you put the other person's need before your own.
Absolutely. I cried at that part of the movie. I did. I was like, I can't believe I'm crying at a cartoon. But it was so pure and beautiful and kind of unexpected. It's not what I thought was going
Mhm.
to happen at the end of the movie.
Mhm.
But you know, when we think about these, you know, rabbit holes, I want you all to feel encouraged not to blame yourself for any of these patterns that we find ourselves in, because we're just doing the best we can. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So if you feel like this was helpful and kind of turned a little bit of a light on and you were like, oh, wow, those are some qualities or characteristics or perspectives on relationship that, you know, are very different, but I want that, then
Mhm.
want that. Don't
Mm.
compromise, right? Like
Yeah.
make sure you feel confident in that. And what, you know, Chaplain Fuentes was saying about is showing that unconditional love is showing it to yourself as well. Taking some time to really treat yourself the way that you do want to be treated.
Yeah.
It goes that way. We always say treat others the way you want to be treated, but treat yourself
Yeah.
with that, because when you get a flavor of how good it feels for you to treat yourself that way, you'll recognize when other people aren't.
Mhm. Mhm. And totally, you know, kind of what Jack's saying is like choices, right? Anna and Elsa are not perfect people. You know, they had a rocky start, but they grew, they learned. So they were able to find true love. And what kind of we want to share is you also are able to find true love. Maybe you've made mistakes in the past, but let me encourage you today. The first person you probably have to forgive is yourself. You know, you have to show forgiveness and kindness to yourself, you know, and then if someone harmed you, someone hurt, yes, forgive that person too, and move on. There is love again. There is other chances and opportunities. And just like Anna and Elsa can meet each other, you can also meet new people and build new relationships and have your fairy tale happily ever after.
Yeah, Frozen is a story about second chances.
Mm,
It's based in reality, and you all deserve a second chance. So give yourself that pass. And feel love. Sometimes for the first time, it can be pretty powerful. And so you can take the blue pill and, pretend you didn't see anything today and stay where you're at. Or you can take that red pill and you can say, hey, I'm going to take a look at this and I'm going to love myself and I'm going to make sure others treat me the way that I want to be treated too. And does anyone have any questions for the chaplain and I? If you do at any point, please reply to either my email that I sent out, and you have Chaplain Fuentes' phone number that was sent out in the email by Chaplain Matina. You can always reach out to us anytime. If you're curious to know a little bit more about how does this rabbit hole thing work in my life, both of us are here to talk to you at a low level and privately about how, you can have more choices for yourself as well. So if we can be there for you in any way, please do let us know.
Yes. Likewise, God bless. Blessings on you. And just want to remind you, you are loved.
You are loved. There we go. Thank you, everybody, for coming.